Very cool.
Dennis, you know what we're talking about today?
We're talking about time management,
Hmm.
time management techniques. I mean, we all have them, right? So that's kind of what we need to focus on. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls that most agents have, right? Most people in general. So I think Pete's trying to hop on here. Mitch is really sick today, but let's see
Uh,
if Pete's on here. We can just start. We can just start going around the room and talking about time
yeah,
management.
by the way, everybody should know there's a big at 10 o'clock West Coast time. There's a thing with that EXP, like a class basically on, which I think Pete's going to be involved in, something about taking luxury listings or something like that, right, Pete? Uh, Somebody, anyway, I got an email about it. It's at 10 o'clock West Coast, 1 o'clock East Coast time today.
Very cool. I didn't see that. Okay, Pete, can
Mhm.
you hear us, Pete? I think
It's
Pete can't
called
hear
Win
us.
the Listing, just so you guys
Oh,
know.
that's it.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yep.
Win the
Dennis, I
listing,
can
right?
forward you the email. We blasted it to our organization on
Right
Tuesday.
on. Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. I think Pete's logging on here and we'll get this party rolling.
Well, hey, Dennis, I'm going to have to
Yeah.
hop off early, so maybe I could go first.
Why don't you go first, Matt? So we're talking about
Yeah.
time management skills, what everybody uses, what works best, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I'm super basic when it comes to, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I really just get up every morning and make a list and try, and I just, cross stuff out and get them done and, uh, mix it in with my appointments. But that's really the time management that I use. I'm curious to hear what everybody else does, but I just make lists all the time. And sometimes I'll make a list the night before of what I know I need to do the next day or this, and then I stretch it out to what I need to get done on a weekly basis and, monthly goals and all that kind of stuff. But super, super basic. Um, I don't have any real high tech time management tools beyond just making lists and crossing them off. See, got
Let's
right
see it,
here.
Matt. Nice. Just on like a
Yeah.
workbook then, huh? All right.
No,
I mean,
just
it
I
works, right?
have what I do is I use old listings. I just use the back of all these. I just always have a stack on my desk, and I just make lists all the time. So,
Very
and I
cool.
have
Very cool.
tons of
So
them. I have farm lists, where I'm going to mail to, and I have,
awesome.
you can see here, Chet figuring out scripts and stuff for different things, and so that's what I do.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. So Matt, let me ask you: do you do like chores, like pick up laundry and pick up dry cleaning, things like that on there? Or is this
No,
just you just do the
no,
big blocks of business?
all work related, just everything I need to do for work. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. And I think that's important for everybody to know that most top producers, as Matt was number one in our company out of 80,000 agents, a couple times, right, Matt?
Hmm.
It's he's not putting his in. I'm guilty of that as well. Putting dry cleaning, take the dog to the groomers and all this kind of crap, right? But if we want to be productive agents, we need those blocks on our calendar to be business focused. That other stuff can come secondary. Is that correct, Matt? Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate. My wife does most of that stuff, so I don't have to worry. I don't really have a lot of chores like that.
Right.
Uh, but we have a lot of chores because we have kids and dogs and all that kind of stuff. But no, this is all just stuff for my, what I need to do for work. But it's a lot of stuff. I mean, people kind of
Yeah.
forget. I mean, I don't care if you make $1 million a year, 200 grand a year, whatever. You're running basically a multi-million dollar company when you're running your real estate business. And so there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of stuff that needs to get done. Um, Marketing, we're in the lead generation business, right? So it all comes down to lead gen and follow up and conversion. So, but you got to keep the flow of business coming in. And I see it so many times with agents, it becomes, you know, it's a vicious cycle. The agents, they get busy, they do some marketing. It works. They get busy. They get so busy doing real estate that they stop doing the marketing. And then the lead flow slows down. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's crickets, right? So you got to always be generating leads. And so most of the stuff, except if it's servicing listings or getting price reductions or whatever. I mean, I'm still pretty hands-on. I don't really have an assistant. I have in the past, but I've been doing this long enough that I'm just kind of like, I have my own little machine running, you know. But most of the stuff, most of my to-do list is what I'm going to do for marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's important. I think, guys, if I can interject, Matt, I think when we have a to-do list with the dry cleaning, with the taking dogs to the groomers, you know what we end up doing? We end up doing that easy, wimpy stuff, right? Instead of the hard stuff that actually produces money. I think that's the trap we all fall into. So, you know, maybe have a calendar, a personal calendar that you put to the side that you work on after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you know, prior to 2 o'clock, everything business. So thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Ross,
Sure.
Stout, let's go to you. Ross, you're a super high producer, and we want to see how you organize your daily schedule.
Well, Matt's way more of a free spirit than I am. For me, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist, right? And I love how personalities come into play when it comes to time management. But for me, like I actually, if I need to go run an errand, like it's got to be on my calendar or I'm going to sacrifice something in order to take the easier route, kind of like you said. So if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. You need tiers of what's important to you and you need goals of what you're trying to accomplish. And if you're not revisiting your goals on a weekly basis, then they don't exist either. So for me, I have my top five. I have my faith, I have relationships, I have health, I have business, and I have finance. And I need to work on those things every week. And if I stop working on my pillars, then me as a person stops and my business stops. If I don't start my day by filling up my cup, then how could I possibly pour out to anyone else? And the way that we had a great guest speaker on my team meeting yesterday, and one of his top things is like, and this is how I view my company. Nobody works for me. We all work together and we're all individual leaders in a big machine that's moving forward. And I think that if we can take that and idea into what we're doing and we start raising up leaders within ourselves, like no matter where you're at in your real estate career, there's somebody ahead of you, there's somebody walking alongside of you, and then there's also someone to mentor. And this is a great space where we get to talk about what we do. So what I do with time management, this is just like a day in the life of Ross, right? So like I wake up at 5:30 a.m. I'm not confused about what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know where my caffeine is. I'm going straight for the pre-workout. I mix it. I sit down at my table. I read my Bible and I journal for at least 30 minutes. And then I'm in the gym. I just walk to my garage and I start doing whatever regimen I have laid out for the day. I know exactly what I'm doing when I'm in the gym, so I don't waste time. I have my music list, like everything's done. I'm going. I get out of the gym. I go wake up my son. If he's not working out with me already, we go to school. I come back. My girls are kissing goodbye. They take off to school. It's 8 a.m. and I'm ready to tackle the day. So I like to kind of like not smell, so I get cleaned up and get my action going. So by 8:30, I'm ready to start new business, right? So I have 30 minutes to either prepare for this if it's Thursday, 30 minutes to prepare for my accountability meetings if it's Tuesday, and I go about my structured day. I have my team activities structured to where at 12 o'clock every day Pacific time, I have completed everything for my 85 agents on the Stout team. So that's the way that I want to. So from 12 o'clock on, I can be doing individual meetings. I can be recruiting. I can be producing whatever it is that I want to do. I have the rest of the day to do that. So what's important to you, I would say. And I would look at things like this, things that I have to do, my daily regimen, like my 5:30 to 12 o'clock, those are my mandatories. And then second things you need to have that are tiered projects, maybe something that's a little bigger, that can move the needle in your business, and you need to have those working on at least twice a week. And then you have your monster, you got your reach goal, a big project you're working on. Maybe that's a national campaign for attraction. Maybe that's taking down big listings and working on your luxury presentation and practicing and role playing. You need to have if you didn't do it in your CRM, it absolutely, definitely does not exist. So get yourself a system. My Google Calendar is from 5:30 to 5 o'clock every day, 5 p.m. It's filled. So I know exactly what I'm doing. I never wake up confused. If you're waking up confused on what you want to do, or if you're going to work out that morning, if you don't have the structure laid out, then you're not going to win the day. So I would, my CRM list is actually called Win the Day. So take the mentality of winning each day, diving into every opportunity with intention. This is a real job. You didn't get in this frick. I'll just end with this. I think people confuse time freedom with being a slave to their laziness, right? So when you're regimented and you have a structure, that actually brings freedom because you can carve out the time. You can build your day in accordance because you know you're getting all of your stuff done. If you wake up at 11 o'clock or you're staying up till 2 a.m. and messing around, doing too much Netflix and chill, and you're waking up confused, like that's what our basic realtors just do. And then they're too tired to focus on the big things and move the needle in their business. So then they walk the dog. Then they go and take their stuff to the dry cleaner, and they're always super busy because anyone can be busy. It's so far different than productive. So I would just encourage you guys, go win the day by being prepared and having just a solid regimen so you can always be productive instead of busy.
Oh, that's great, Ross. And Ross, if I could comment, I love that you do the stuff for yourself health-wise first thing in the morning and get that going because that gives you energy, right?
Ton of energy.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
if you don't, like I said, if you don't pour into yourself, how could you possibly pour into others? And that's your clients, that's your family, that's your peers. I think the biggest thing yesterday that I heard from our guest speaker was I was killing it in my business, but my wife saw me as serving my business more than her. I was killing it in my business, but I never spent time with my kids. We have to have the balance and put our own relationships and our health and our faith in front of the business part, or else we'll lose what's most important to us.
Yeah, great stuff, man. I love that so much. Okay, let's move on. Brian Yarborough. I don't know where you are, buddy, but let's see what you have. And you have a ton of knowledge. I know this.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, good morning, everybody. And that I grinded. I'm 64 now. So Ross, I relate to what you were sharing as a big part of my early career. And then as Matt was sharing, I'm kind of more like Matt a little bit now. And then I've graduated into something I'll share. What was cool is that I learned when we took our whole company, our office, and moved it over to EXP, I bought back about 50 hours a week of a compliance manager, an office manager, the trainer, all the things that I was doing for 30 plus years. And I spent a good hour a day minimum in traffic, one way or the other, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. For a while, I was up in Del Mar from East County, and it was an hour each way. So I did a lot of stuff in my car that I bought back all that time. And so what I learned is when I have a lot of extra time, I can buy into that. Oh, I'll be there at ish, whatever ish time was, 2-ish. Or I began a flex program that just tailored to my extra time. And like Ross was just saying, now that I work from home and my wife works from home and we're grandparents, we're empty nesters, our mornings are the most precious time. We have a routine where when I don't even use an alarm anymore. I wake up somewhere between 5:30 and 5:45. My coffee is set at 6 a.m. every morning. I walk out to a hot pot of coffee. That's my day. I start my day with a hot pot of coffee. I grab my phone, which also doubles as my Bible, and I'll sit and read some scripture, and I'll just kind of get my head in the right spot. I don't look at emails. I don't look at social media. I don't look at anything until I've just kind of quieted and meditated and got my head right. Sometimes my wife wakes up and meets me. We have a drop zone. We call it our drop zone. It's where we sit together in the morning. We have a fire outside and a fireplace on our patio if it's cold. If not, we're just sitting there. And we just start our day like preparing our marriage and our life around what we're going to do because we've earned it. Right. So I'm at that age where I've earned a different lifestyle than I did when my kids were, 3 and 5 years old and 7 and 10, and they were in high school and they were playing in sports. And I missed a lot of that because I was doing all the busyness of trying to create a lifestyle. And right or wrong, I did it. That's it. That's all I knew was grind. And I had a pretty decent nut because I had a team and I had an office and I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. So that made me successful financially, but I wasn't rewarded spiritually or mentally. And I couldn't slow down because slowing down meant, my assistant and my buyer's agents, they weren't going to slow down. You're the rainmaker sometimes. So you've got to be on your game. And I backed off on all that. But what was cool is that I just saw Brian Buffini partnered with Bold Trail. And a lot of my career at the end, I started to adopt the Brian Buffini philosophy of just, really take your top clients over the last many years and really focus on them and cater to them and spend time with them and build trust with them, and your referral business would continue. And my referral business is really what I kind of live on now today. But I do a lot of training. We have a pretty significant sized tribe. My business partner and I, Randy, we have, a few hundred agents in our pipeline, and some above us that we manage for another couple of people, and some below us. So we can get busy. So answer the question, here's what I do. I pack everything into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that's business. Mondays are meetings. Mondays is my regroup day. Mondays, I kind of keep the afternoon open to pick up what I didn't finish over the weekend or at the end of the last week. And I just use Mondays as the day that I just kind of prepare my week for. Then I schedule everything Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday is what I call my flex day. And my flex day could be just, I'm closing a deal this week. Fallbrook's an hour from my home. I know I got to drive to Fallbrook. Well, all those things you and Matt were talking about, the dry cleaning and all this stuff, I might pack that into Friday on my flex day, and that's the day I'm going to go do walkthroughs. That's the day I'm going to maybe meet clients. That's the day I'm going to do the things that don't require a contract. You're already closing something or you're in a contract. You're going to see some of your listings. You're prepping the weekend for whoever's doing. I do open houses, but I have my team do them and things like that. So I book in my weeks, Mondays and Fridays, to get all that clutter or things that I just know that can wait till Friday and do those. But I do have a structure. Typically, everything starts for me at about 9 a.m. and then I'll go until about 5:30 or 6. And then I do have a very busy life after hours because I'm involved in quite a bit of stuff outside, which is more not philanthropy, but it's definitely a lot of give back time for me and my wife, because we run a lot of different organizations, not 501c3 nonprofits and stuff. That's our give back time. So the generosity part of this whole lifestyle that we've created now feeds us a lifestyle that we can manage. And so if it's not my calendar, or if Siri puts it in my calendar for me, which I require Siri to do everything for me. I don't know how many of you talk to Siri like I do, but Siri's my best assistant, and she fills up my calendar or reminds me of everything I need to do that I can't write down because I live in a car. I drive somewhere between 40 and 50,000 miles a year, and that's just the way I live.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I love that. So, Brian, how do you stay focused? Let me ask you a question. How do you stay focused on not getting distracted with like the daily little stuff that kind of gets in our way of like producing business? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've learned that everything is an appointment and nobody knows what my appointments are. So I will say, regardless of if it's a great client or a business, hey, I'm on an appointment then. Could I meet you a little later in the day? Or would tomorrow be better? I'll give them the choice, but I'll kind of predict where it fits in my schedule to do those things that just all of a sudden come up. If it's I'd still show property now and then. So if I've got just a super good qualified buyer that is just, we're hitting home runs, but we can't get one to stick, in the park type of thing, and you're just grinding for them. They learn to my schedule pretty quickly, and they'll be very patient with me. But most of the time, I'll make room for them, and I'll do it in a way that it makes it feel like they had control over it. So I know how to delicately dance around my schedule. And Randy knows, if I'm on an appointment, really that appointment might be an appointment that has nothing to do with real estate. It's just an appointment. And I got in the habit of, nobody's going to argue when you say you're on an appointment at that time. Can we meet later, or is tomorrow better? Doesn't matter what the appointment is they respect the appointment. So I've learned that people will do that. So I pick and choose my battles throughout the day. And most of the time they all fit in a good way. But, less is more. I'm more productive when I do less.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate your feedback, man. Okay, let's move on here. Dave Lawson, one of the probably most structured guys I know. I want to see how you do it, man.
Well, you guys have pretty much just said, what Ross is doing right now is what I did, but I just wrote down 6 things real quick, so to be prepared, right? First of all, I want to start with me every day, and that means my relationship with the Lord. And so I try to start with reading the gospel, and I want to end my day every single day. So I don't always do it in the morning, which is a mistake, but I always do it the last thing before I go to bed. It's like a 25-minute routine. And first of all, it really settles me down and I sleep better. Sleep is so important. Second thing is I've taught and lived by the 5 F's, right? Ross mentioned them a little bit. It's faith, family, fitness, fun, and finances. And unfortunately, some of us took those priorities and turned them right upside down early in our career, because when you are in the real estate business, especially early, sometimes your priorities, they get messed up, right? And the thing is you only have so much time in the day, and you can't do everything all the time, right? But when you really focus on that, it's super, super important. Talking about my schedule, I had the most rigid schedule for 5 years early in my business. And I love what Brian said. It was in my schedule every Friday night at 5 o'clock, date night with my wife, right? You schedule it. Does that mean every Friday night we go out on a date? No, but I've done it where I didn't have it in my schedule and we hardly ever did it. And when it's in my schedule, we almost always did it, right? Doesn't mean something doesn't come up now and again, right? So I tell people, if you're early in the career, you have to really look at what your goals are to get it. But I say in the coaching world, if you give me 5 years in this business, and you do what others are not willing to do or able to do, then you're going to get to do for the rest of your life what you want to do, because you're going to build the wealth and build the systems and whatnot. The next thing I wrote down is your schedule has to be like Ross said, it has to be done every single day. I can, you want to know what I'm doing 2 weeks from Tuesday? I can go into my schedule like Ross does, and it's already in there. I know what I'm doing. When you wake up and you don't know what to do, you've got a problem, right? I say when I was early on and when I was in full-time production. 8:30 to 11:30 was my time to do lead generation. And I told my assistant at that time, if you bring me a problem, you are the problem. I'd give her that's when we had we had phones, right? With cords. You remember those, some of you? Right? So we made our calls, but my cell phone, I would give it to her. I would tell every listing that I went on, I'd say, Mitch, Dennis, Susie, whatever it was, if you call me Monday through Friday between 8:30 and 11:30 in the morning, you need to immediately fire me. And they're like, whoa, what do you mean? I said, well, that's the time that I'm trying to do my lead generation and try. So essentially my job is to try to find a buyer, right? Or find business. So if you call me at that time and I answer the phone, you should fire me. Boy, does that you tell that to the 25 listings that we have right now, you better not answer the phone, right? And guess what? They will test you, right? So my phone would ring and my assistant would answer it. And then they'd say, I need to talk to Dave. You know what? He's doing lead generation. If I interrupt him right now, that would be bad, right? I have a sign. This is a sign that I've had for 25 years. And it says, do not disturb, stop prospecting in progress unless the building's on fire and the fire's at my door. In other words, if the building's on fire, you do not come and get me. Now, if the fire is at my door, then you should come get me, right? That's how freaking anal rigid that I was, right? I can tell you it, and then I use this example. Dennis, you've got a $5 million or $3 million listing appointment tomorrow at 9 a.m. Where are you going to be at 9 a.m. tomorrow?
At the listing.
You're going to be at the listing. And what would cause you not to be at that listing appointment?
A heart attack.
Yeah, you'd have to be at the hospital or going to the hospital or an emergency with one of your kids. I mean, something extremely serious. Yes or yes? Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's what I did from 8:30 to 11:30. Brian said it good. I have an appointment. I'd like you to come over. I'd like to go look at property at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Oh, great, Brian. I'd love to show you tomorrow property at 10 o'clock, but I have an appointment. I can meet you at 11:30 or 12 o'clock or 2, but actually that didn't work. But in my schedule, my showings were from 2 to 5 or 2 to 6. So I have some time around 2, or I could do it at 5. What's better for you?
Yeah.
The next thing that I wrote down is this. If you take away nothing from this, write this down. We are all independent contractors. Yes or yes? And the independent contractor, everything around it is the curse of the real estate business. And the reason why is you guys, you have a freaking job. If you, and what business are you in? You're in a sales business. So if you worked at IBM and they said, I'm going to pay you $500,000 a year, and you're going to be one of my top salespeople to sell IBM machines or whatever it is, what are they going to expect you to do for 8 hours a day? To sell. That's your job, right? So do your job, right? I hate to say it, but the vast majority of real estate agents, if they took that job, they'd be fired in a week or two. They would not last. They would not last a month, not 1 in 100. So if you want to have a hobby, then this job is for you. Okay. But then don't expect to get paid like the most, like professionals do, that nobody else can. We can make more money than any doctor, any lawyer, any professional, anybody. But if you think you're going to do it by doing your laundry, I mean, what would IBM do, Dennis, if you took off and you went and I got to go drop off my dry cleaning, or I got to go wash my car, or I got to go change the air in my tires.
You'd be
right?
all done.
You would be done. And the thing is, people, they just don't get this concept. And that's why the independent contractor agreement is the curse of the real estate business. And the thing is, there's not very many of us that have figured this out. But the ones that have, we have what others don't have for the rest of our lives. So,
yeah. So true. Yeah, Dave. I mean, I was talking to Sean Kokoska one time, and he has the exact same mentality you did with the assistant. Cell phone with the assistant, 8:30 to 11, and only if the place is burning to the ground and it's at my door, you come disturb me. I mean, that's how disciplined the top producers are, right?
yeah.
And we have to be that way, guys. We have to really block off. In the morning's probably the best because you have the most energy. Block off those 2 hours and do your prospecting. That's going to make you have a great life at the end of the day, and just don't check your email, don't check your text, none of that. So stay focused.
Well, I was going to go into that. Do not wake up and go to your phone and scroll, and do not listen to the news, and do not all that is noise. It's addictive, and you can't do it, And the thing is, if you get up and first thing you do is you check your email and you do all that stuff, man, you're using your best energy on the least important thing that you can do.
Yep, 100%. No, great stuff, Dave. I love that, man. You always have great knowledge. All right, let's move over. Cam Smith. Cam, let's hear your scheduling, what you do for lead time management.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. This is a great topic, obviously. This is the key topic in real estate. This is where we spend our time, is where we're going to get our results. I apologize. I'm not in the typical office, as you guys can see, but you might be able to see someone walking around behind me. And that's going to be a great example of leveraging our time. I have a house cleaner here. That's right now. And it's kind of embarrassing. I'm sorry that they happen to be my schedule obviously got mixed up a little bit, but I'm not spending an hour a week or, whatever you spend house cleaning. You can hire that out. You can delegate that, and you can instead spend that time where you're earning, $300, $400 an hour, and you're spending $75 to have your house cleaned, right? So it's very important to always be looking at your personal life and your business life, because as realtors, we really do combine these. So one of the things I always tell new agents, or agents in general, that are, starting off planning, excuse me, I got to change this. I can't hear myself. There we go. That's better. So one of the things I tell all of the agents that are starting and really starting this journey of planning and scheduling is, how many hours a week are there to work? And you should all ask yourself, how many hours do you really have to work every week, you guys? And you should all know exactly how many there are. There are about 170 hours a month, 170 hours a month of working hours you have. So if you spend one of those hours cleaning your house or walking your dog or doing random errands, you have really put yourself behind the 8 ball when you only have 173 hours a month. And most folks don't know that. They don't realize that. Like, holy crap. Like, I only got 170 of these things, and I just spent one just aimlessly driving around or, hanging out at the whatever, when I could have been doing something to move myself forward. The trick to moving yourself forward, as everyone has already said, so I'm not going to repeat this, but it's knowing what to do, right? It's knowing what to do throughout your day so that you have a very full schedule of productive activities. And how do we do that, you guys? The answer is pre-planning your days, pre-planning what you're going to do either the night before or the week before. It doesn't matter. As you can hear, some of our guys like Ross, he is I mean, that guy is on his schedule, and it sounds like he doesn't deviate no matter what. He knows exactly what he's going to be doing every second of the day, and he's planned that out. I mean, Ross, you probably plan that out for the rest of the year, right? I mean, you're going to be doing that until situations change. Now, one thing that's really important, you guys, is knowing that as you do this, your schedule is going to change. Like, you got to be flexible. This isn't something that's a rigid bound, ball and chain. No, you guys, this is something that, some days you're going to have 3 different sets of showings. You're going to have 3 clients in town on the exact same day, and you got to be, ultra flexible, but you have to pre-plan that all in your day, right? There's no way you could show 3 different clients' homes in one day. But if you pre-planned it, it's not hard at all. You have 1 set that goes in the morning, 1 set in the afternoon, 1 set in the evening, right? So pre-planning is the biggest thing that if you're not already doing it, start doing it today. And what that means is tonight, before you turn off your life, or before you turn off your working mind, write down the top things that you need to accomplish tomorrow before 10 a.m. And then overstuff it. Put too much in there. Stuff that you're not going to be able to accomplish. The reason that you want to overstuff your schedule, you guys, is because you're going to find that when there's more to do, you make time to do it and you make it happen. You're able to do way more than you can believe because you're just doing it 1, 2, 3, scratching those things off we have our workbook, obviously. But when you're pre-planned, man, you can become unstoppable because you know exactly the tasks that you need to do that day to make it a successful day. Now, for all of us, and this is going to be anyone that isn't doing any type of physical workout, you need to start. Start in the morning. It can just be a 15-minute walk, you guys. It can be something very low intensity, but waking up and getting your blood pumping and getting yourself to have success in your body. Your human body needs to have movement to have success. It is going to, it's going to bring up all that dopamine. It's going to move your psychological brain so that you are ready to go after this day and eat the frog. And that's the other part I wanted to say today. One of my absolute favorite books is a Brian Tracy book. Everyone knows it. And if you don't, you're going to learn it today. It's called Eat the Frog. I just posted it there in the chat. You guys, this is one of those books that completely fundamentalizes our human psychology on why the heck we want to do the easy stuff first. Why isn't that we want to go out and break those big rocks first when we have all that energy? I mean, in the morning, we are the freshest. We are alive. Like, you can do anything. You can conquer the world. By noon, the world is starting to conquer you, or it can feel that way, right? So if you can start off in the morning eating those big frogs, you're going to have days that you just stack successes on successes on successes. And then before you know it, you're going to have so much business that you're going to ask the next episode, oh my God, how do I get a little bit of time back? It's the same exact thing. You plan your time off. You plan to go on those vacations. You plan to spend time with your wife. I know you guys have talked about that. You plan to do fun things with the kids or with your life. Doesn't matter. But now you have a foundation for your business and your life. And that's something that it's really simple, you guys. It's just a daily consistency that's going to allow you to keep filling out your schedule, building more and stacking those successes. And I truly believe that it all starts with a little bit of physical exercise in the morning, just to get those dopamine receptors going in your brain. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know how it works, but I can tell you it does work. I'm going to link also our workbook. I know I've linked it a few times, but you guys, this is something, if you use this, you're able to pre-plan all of your next day's activities. It has the affirmations that you need to be reading. They're positive as hell. They're telling you that you're the king shit. Like, you are the man. And you read this over and over and over, or the woman. Sorry, guys, but you know what I mean. You read this over and over, and guess what? You start believing it because it's what you're telling yourself. It's what you're hearing. You say this stuff out loud, and you can believe. Anything that you believe, when you can conceive it, you can achieve it, right? That's another one of those famous quotes that we've all heard a million times. But damn, it's famous because it's true, you guys. And when you truly can tell yourself stuff and you can get yourself moving and you can believe that today is going to be the most successful day of the year for you, you're going to achieve that every single day. So when you pre-plan it with your workbooks, when you start your day off with that physical activity, when you eat that big frog, you're not only going to be more busy you're not going to be busier. You're also going to be in a better mental state for after work times with your wife, with your kids, with yourself, right? I'm the biggest component of that. I've talked about this a bunch. You are going to be able to be the person that you've always dreamed of being. And it just starts with a little bit of consistency, just a little bit of consistency every single day. So that's what I got.
No, good stuff, Cam. I love that. That great book, by the way. Eat That Frog. Love that. Yeah. Get the tough stuff out of the way first, guys. Don't do the easy stuff, right? Don't do the dry cleaning. Call the lead first. All right, Randy, let's hear what you have to say, my friend, about time management.
Hey, Ryan mentioned he doesn't need an alarm clock. I don't either, Ryan. My 3-year-old wakes me up at 6 a.m. on a dot. That's my alarm clock. And that's how my day starts is with my kiddos. Right now, it's the 3-year-old. The 5 sleeps in a bit longer. But I spend probably about an hour to 2 hours with them in the morning. That's what fills my cup, fills their cup. Around 8:30, I get to my office, which is in my house. And I'm not big in production right now. I purposely created things in my business where I don't need to focus on it. The business that I do get in Southern California, I have a partner. So she will do all of the work. Her name is Jessica. She's a godsend. So I chose to partner with somebody and do 50-50 on property, on deals, but I don't have to be there. So it outsources basically everything to her. And I'm involved in the deals that I continue to get in San Diego. With that, though, I would say my calendar is my biggest thing that I use. If you saw my calendar, it's like the rainbow. It's got colors that only I understand. I know what they mean. I look at it. I know, blue is appointments. Nothing can be overlapped. Blue. And then yellow are leads. Light blue is me pricing out, which is equivalent to you guys CMA now, because I also launched a lending division last year. So it's very similar to what I used to do in production. Now I'm doing actually in the lending division for investors. So I do a lot of loans now for flippers, rental properties, and I'm just kind of duplicating the same thing that we talk about for agents in production. It's the same concept, right? So I have my color coding for those leads, so I understand which one takes priority every day. So like my light blue on my calendar right now means I need to, there is a deal that I'm talking to them about that I need to price out. They get my attention. The yellows are just people I've connected with and I need to stay in touch with them, right? The purple are the leads I'm actually already having a pipeline that I'm working on currently on the loan. So I just use my calendar really kind of to Ross's point. If it's not in my calendar, I don't know. I forget it, everything, So calendar is my way of doing it. Once you get to the point where a calendar is maybe it's too much to handle the amount of business you're getting, which is kind of where I'm at now with, let's say, the lead gen that I'm getting for the loan business. Now I'm slowly thinking like, okay, I think I need to start transitioning some of this into some type of a CRM. But I don't necessarily a lot of people get, I think, caught up in like, I need everything set up. I need my CRM. I need my databases. I need this. I need automation. You don't need anything. All you need is a spreadsheet. That's it. And start dialing and connecting with people. And then when you have too much and it's getting confusing and disorganized, then you add technology. Then you need add automation. Then you start spending money. Until then, you don't have a business you don't need a database yet, right? And I think this is where a lot of people get caught up, right? And that my brain works, and this is from the investing business that I built, or the brokerage that I built, or now the lending business that I'm building. The way my brain works is I'm like, okay, what tasks that I'm doing that are reactive, and I don't like reactive tasks. I get annoyed with reactive tasks, but in our business, we have many of those, unfortunately, and fortunately, right? So my brain always like, how can I get rid of my reactive tasks as fast as possible? So that's always in the back of my mind. And what are the tasks that are repetitive in my day-to-day activities, right? And those are the easiest ones to outsource. So like real case scenario, I'm to the point where I had so many loans going and I was like, oh crap, man, like I'm losing track of my transactions. What is even happening? What documents do I need? What is this client missing? Where is this one? Right? So then I guess what? I hired a loan coordinator. And it's the equivalent of a transaction coordinator. Like, it blows my mind that a realtor would do a transaction without a transaction coordinator. Like, to your point, Cameron, that's like, why are you spending hours trying to figure out the paperwork? Outsource that, right? So if you want to be a high productive agent, right, or in anything, in any business or anything, like, you have to start thinking that way, right? And think of, what can I outsource? And your business will triple because you're saving your time for the most important activities. And the most important activities for us are lead gen and appointments. Like, I grade myself, how many times a week am I pricing out loans, which is equivalent to, like, say, how many CMAs am I doing? How many buyer consultations am I doing and talking about the market with clients? It's the same thing, right? That's how you translate it. So now I have a loan coordinator. I pay her per loan at closing, right? Now I don't have to worry about the day-to-day. Now my focus is going strictly to lead gen and sending out pricing on loans, right? That's where I need to stay, in that zone. The more I stay in that zone, the more my business grows. And lastly, I would say, I think people underestimate the fact that you can literally hire an assistant, a virtual assistant, that can help you with whatever you're doing and not have to spend $20 an hour. There's plenty of people in South America that will work for you for $5-6 an hour. If you need help, I can help you even find one. But trust me, please outsource. Like, if you want to, own your schedule and own your time and not have the schedule own you, you need to outsource. That would be my biggest thing that I would like for you to take away. And you can do it sooner than you think, at a much cheaper rate than you think. And I'll stop there.
Yeah, good stuff, Randy. I appreciate that, man. Okay, guys, we're going to open up for questions in just a minute, but I want to do a screen share first with you guys and share just a couple things on my end, okay? Let's see here. Big ass calendar. I don't know if you guys know about Jesse Itzler. He's married to the lady who developed Spanx, and very, very successful guy. It's called the Big Ass Calendar. And basically what he does is, I'll give you a rough idea. He blocks out chunks of stuff like family vacation 2 weeks, going to Italy here. September, we got this marathon. So he puts all that in first, his personal stuff, and then he works his life around that stuff. So I think what a lot of us do, on a personal level, is we tend to just coast along, right? And we just don't know kind of what our schedule is. Pete's having microphone troubles, but he's really good at scheduling his year in advance, just like Jesse Itzler does. So this is a good little tool, you guys. It's this big ass calendar. So if you have a chance, it's like $50 or something like that. It's pretty good to have. It's just like that's dry erase, and you can put Post-its on it and all that. So I want to share two more things with you. Hold on one sec. I did a Tony Robbins 3-day time management seminar this past week, actually. This is Tony Robbins early on. This is his schedule, what it looked like, okay? So I know Matt Battiata talked earlier. He does his on a piece of paper, kind of like what Tony did. This is early on. He uses a database now, but this was Tony Robbins, who's a billionaire. This is what he did. Master plan for the month of, and he would just put stuff in, and when he got it done, he crossed it out. And he put stars next to the important stuff. So, you don't have to have this fancy CRM in order to have a good time management system. You really don't. So you could use, Apple, Gmail, you could use a piece of paper, but the key is to do that, right? So this one, and this was part of that seminar too, you guys, I went to with the Tony Robbins thing this week. This one's pretty shocking. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. This is a 90, if you live till 90, each one of these squares is 1 week. Okay, this is your life. If you live from 0 to 90 years old, okay, if you make it that far, this is your life. Okay, so you can see 0 to 10. I'm in this 50 to 60 range right here. This is it. This little three squares down and wide. That's like 50 to 60 years old, guys. I mean, so I think this kind of puts it in perspective, you guys. This is your life till 90 years old. It's not a lot, right? Don't screw around on TikTok and do all this kind of crap that just wastes time. This is all you have. You can't go backwards and get back to here, right? This is it. So every week that goes by, you could check off one of these little boxes on here, literally, and that's it. So So I can leave it with that, guys. This one, take a screenshot of this. I thought this was pretty impactful to me, anyhow. Right? This kind of got me thinking a little bit. 4,680 weeks in your life. That's it.
That would
So-
be, it would be funny. Not funny, but eerie checking those boxes off. You're like, oh shit. Oh shit.
It'll make you think about your life a little differently, right? It's actually a pretty good idea, Randy. Print that out and like every week that goes by, check it off. It's like, all right, that one's not coming back. So focus on it, right? So when you have your day, spend your day wisely. Don't, and we get caught up, guys. It's easy to screw off and coast. I'm a prime example. Trust me. This isn't a pot calling the kettle black, whatever that saying is. I'm the worst at that. So I need to really focus on this. And this one kind of hit home. Some things in your life hit home. This one really hit home. And I like that, Randy. I think I am going to print this out and I'm going to check off every single week that goes by and just kind of like, there you go. Right. Yeah. So let's open it up for, let me stop the screen share here. Anybody have questions, comments?
Or shares that works for you. We love to hear from
Shares?
people.
Mm-hmm. Anything. If not, we can get it going. But key takeaways, guys.
Jordan,
is,
Jordan, you're new in the business. I want to hear from you. I know you're very driven. You got to have some systems in place. Come on, man. Share.
Yeah, I mean, so it is shifting with getting into real estate. So right now, and it all hinges on time blocks. I get up early also, read the Bible, do my prayers, and try to get some exercise in. I spend 30 minutes walking the dog every morning. And so that just gets me outside, fresh air, sunlight. So I spend that time in the morning on me. So, I resonate with what everybody said. And then after that, I'm usually in my chair by 8 or 8:30, doing prospecting. And so that's my new thing. It wasn't before real estate, and now it is until noon. And so I know exactly what I'm doing. That cannot change. Just like everybody said, and I love hearing it because it drives it home for me. That's what I got to be doing. And then after that, after lunch, then I can start to take my meetings and do everything else that I need to do. Clean up emails. I try not to check emails before noon. I don't always do that, but it's the goal not to get distracted with everything else, because you could see an email and think, shoot, I got to deal with this right now. And then there goes 30 minutes of your prospecting right out the window. And you'll never, I tend to beat myself up like, I just wasted so much time doing that. So I try not to even look at emails before noon.
That's great.
Yeah. And then, right now, my next struggle is trying to finish working before 6 p.m. We'll see when I get there, but I think that'll be my next goal, is try to finish before 6 p.m.
Yeah, that's great. To your point there, Jordan, not checking your emails. How many of us have, flown on an airplane, right? For 5 hours. I did it last night when I flew back from Florida. I didn't check my emails all the way when I landed in San Diego. It took me 5 minutes to check my emails, and there was nothing urgent in there, right? But we ended up being like lab rats checking our emails because mentally we think we're keeping busy and being productive, but actually we're wasting time and going backwards, right? So I love that, Jordan. Yeah, check your emails. If you have to, maybe in the first thing in the morning, but then shut it down, right, and do your prospecting. So yeah, that's great stuff.
Yeah, if it's important, they're going to call, right?
100%. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. All right, guys. Great meeting. Remember to invite people next week, you guys. Let's pull this thing up. There's a lot of good nuggets here. So we look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Okay. Thanks, you guys.
Great call, guys. See ya.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Good job, Dennis. Thank you.
See you guys.
Gentlemen.